Go.
And welcome back to another podcast, guys. This is episode 8. Tim almost killed himself walking over here. You're right there.
I am.
All right.
And now we're going live.
We are live on Facebook and YouTube.
Hold on a second. Trying to make it go live on accepting.
You're trying to do Instagram too? Is that what you're trying to
There
do?
we go.
Okay.
Okay.
But we should be on live
Woo,
on.
baby.
You want to listen to us real quick and see? But anyways, guys, we are back for episode 8. It is August the 27th. The 27th. Yeah, the 27th. And we got just a few live podcasts until I head out on the cruise. We are still planning on doing some podcasts live while I'm on the cruise and in between the cruises and stuff, but which there isn't really much. It's 2 14-day cruises, I think is what it is, or 15-day cruises. But I might be able to even do some podcasts on the cruise itself, or especially like at sea days or whatever, because I'll have internet and all that, and I'll still have internet on the cruise, but I'm not sure how well it will work. But anyways, this will be the last of just a couple that we have here face to face, and then for a month, yeah.
When are you leaving, dude?
I know what the
You didn't tell me.
I told you when you were sleeping. I whispered it in your ears. It is the 27th. So I just have next week, and then I fly out the 7th, the Saturday.
Okay, so we have one more week.
We have a whole week. We have like 10 days.
Oh, okay.
A little over 10 days.
See, I thought I misunderstood. I thought you were saying that we don't have this is the last week we can do it live.
We have another
that's the words you said. Those are the words you said.
You lie. Don't you put words in your mouth? Goodness.
Oh, that light. Turn that light on.
Oh, goodness, light. Let's just so funny.
Well, maybe we don't need it.
Yeah, that looks good.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
I could tell the difference.
Okay.
But yeah, so here we are. We're live. We're excited. We're overwhelmed. This is not, representing. We got our No Sugar, No Cream podcast shirts on. I was a little extra lazy today, and I have a Monster, not coffee. Tim,
so it's caffeine. So
hey,
you skate by.
But 0 sugar. Oh, say still doing no sugar though. There you go. I love these things. These are crack in a can. Okay. What you were gonna say something?
Well, merch. We have these T-shirts, and we have 2 other designs other than these 2. And if you are interested, and they come, you can choose your colors as well.
I think they're just 15. Colors. Do you have them just for 15 or $20?
I think they're that.
Yeah,
I need to know that. I should know that. I'm not a very good salesperson.
Yeah, you put them pretty cheap, so
yeah,
you get them.
Cheap.
What the only
cheap. And plus shipping. You have to pay the shipping.
Yeah.
But that's cheap for a T-shirt in 2024.
Yeah, our next ones aren't going to be cheap. They're going to be well designed by professional artists.
Oh, come on! These are well designed.
Yes, they will. No, I'm saying no, they don't have any graphic
Well, okay. I only went off of your unscripted banner.
Yeah,
you were wearing the unscripted banner, and I thought that's what you preferred. I mean, we can have designs. We have a logo. We could make designs with the logo. In fact, we can do that. Like by next week, we can have designs. I don't think I can have them made by then, but with the actual purple logo that says "No Sugar."
Oh yeah, that would be kind of cool. We still need to take some pictures. We have no pictures of ourselves on any of our.
Well, we have the really cool picture that we took when we were in Arkansas in the lobby of the Arlington Resort and Spa.
Or just snap some pictures of us here on the mics, doing some funny poses and stuff.
Take some shots.
Bob, get on it. Bob's still in the restroom, I think. He always takes a restroom right when we go live. He always goes to the restroom. It's really awkward. And I was like, Bob, you're supposed to do your job.
Yeah, he's supposed to be here hitting buttons. I wouldn't have to get out of the chair and do this if Bob didn't go to the restroom when we started.
That lazy Bob. He's gonna yell at us later for bringing him up. He doesn't like to be attention.
He likes to stay.
Doesn't like the attention.
No, yeah.
He likes to say invisible for the most part. The invisible way that he's supposed to be. If you haven't figured out, there is no Bob. That's for the special people out there.
Well, we like to imagine that we would have someone behind.
Yeah, someday we'll be
a
fancy
technical person.
be like one of those comedy podcasts and such,
and they got. I was watching Bobby Lee.
Good old Bobby Lee.
People in the technical booth, at least.
Yeah, they're all like, you can see them through. They're all next to each other through one window. Like, what are they doing on top of each other?
Why can't they have a bigger area for them? That's pretty crammed in there.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. But and they were laughing because of who came. Oh, it was which I think he's going to be on the podcast? Comic. Yeah, probably coming up. What's his name? Oh, he just had a special. We were watching his special. Oh my gosh, I'm so bad with names. He's the one that blew up. Oh my God. Matt Rife, thank you. Matt Rife, he just had a special, but he was on there, and they gave him the wrong address. They were off by a number, but in LA, that puts you like 5 miles down the road, which 5 miles is like probably takes you an hour in a car.
Yeah, in LA, sure. Yeah.
But yeah, Matt Rife will be here soon. In my dreams. But today you have us. And we're gonna have an awesome live podcast. And we'll keep it rolling.
No idea what we're gonna talk about.
Oh, I have it all lined up. And bulletin number 1 says see bulletin number 2. Bulletin number 2 says there is no bulletin 1. Oh, this is really confusing.
So last night we went out. And we went. We went and saw a band play. We went
outside.
Yeah, we went to the Vinyl Lounge in Nashville, which is a place you can get food and drinks, but they also make vinyl records there.
Right.
That wasn't going on when we were there, but I have been there when they were making records. There was a guy wearing there, wearing the factory attire, and vinyl was dropping. The presses are right behind the glass, but last night they had it covered up, that curtains.
Yeah, they just spin them like pizza, right?
Just like that, yeah.
And then smash them.
And my buddy Jimmy and I have talked about putting in a vinyl pressing plant. Have I talked to you about that? Is that new? Yeah. We have this idea because there's a shortage. When you order vinyl, now I've got one of my albums is out on vinyl. You have to wait like 5 months to get, unless you're like a big shot like Taylor Swift or somebody. The vinyl plants are all full up, so there's more capacity needed, and so we have looked into, with all seriousness.
Wait, they make them? I thought they grew from a plant.
That's why it takes so long.
Because the vinyl plant
season. Yeah, you plant it in the spring and you harvest it in the fall. That's why it takes 5 months.
That's why you were going to do it too, because you used to be a farmer.
Yeah.
He knows about growing those vinyls.
And then after that, we went bowling.
Yeah. And we didn't suck as bad as you can suck.
You suck. You a lot less than
I sucked.
Less than I did.
On the suck meter, we both sucked, but we hadn't played in forever. And really, it's kind of funny how a sport that seems so simple is. It's fairly hard to get above 100. It's not the easiest thing to just get above 100, but I got like a 130 something, which is kind of surprising. I usually that's I'll hit that after I've played a couple games that, so I did all right. But
I don't think I'll ever order food again.
Yeah, it took a little while. Or did we have to
not that, but I realized.
I
ordered nachos.
Yeah,
it's a finger food.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I'm grabbing them with my hand, I'm realizing where have my fingers just been? My fingers are just in a community bowling ball. And how many people have stuck their fingers in this bowling ball? And I'm sure they don't clean it. And so in between eating some nachos, I stuck my fingers into that bowling ball, and I'm like, this probably isn't the most hygienic thing to do.
That's why I lick my fingers before I touch the chips. That
you
works.
so much. Thank
You're
you so much
welcome.
for being
You're
hygienic.
welcome.
And I thought, okay, because I'm right-handed, so I bowl with my right hand. So I thought I'm going to eat chips with my left hand because that's not the hand that's been stuck in the bowling ball. I literally thought that, and I tried it, and I can't. I'm not ambidextrous nacho eater. I can't do that. So I went back to.
Oh, really?
I
it
tried.
just feels weird.
You weren't noticing. I think you were bowling, and I don't know. You were whatever. You're watching the guy next to us who had an unorthodox technique, and you were doing a play-by-play as he was trying to. He was doing that where he cradles it and puts a big spin on it,
and you just cradle it like it's a little baby, and then you just huck to it down the aisle and give it a big old spin. And then I told you
there were a bunch of people doing that technique. And some of them weren't putting their fingers in the holes. Yeah. Some of them were just holding it like you would hold a baby without fingers in the holes, and then running down there, and then they is that a new way of bowling?
They probably saw a professional do it and be like, "Oh, I could do that. No, that's the way to do it. That should be great."
Is that trends change all the time? It's hard to keep up with all trends, but I actually wondered if that is a new technique that people are using to bowl.
Well,
but I would say the majority of them are using the old way where you stick your finger in the ball and you
right
go like that.
Well, and like I told you, that wasn't the worst thing I've seen before. I was watching a guy kiss the ball discreetly before every time he bowled. Well, it's been years now. It's probably been over 10 years, but this guy would go to bowl and he would just discreetly kiss the ball before he bowled it every single time.
Yeah, these are community community bowling balls.
There's got to be a story there, right?
Hey, here's another thing. I remember I used to read Sports Illustrated pretty regularly because growing up we didn't have a TV, as we talked before. So I needed anything I could get to get outside information. And I liked sports, and I remember subscribing to Sports Illustrated, and I would read it cover to cover every month. I think it came monthly. And I remember bowling was a sport they covered, and I learned from that southpaws, lefty bowlers had an advantage. Lefty bowlers averaged slightly better than righty bowlers, and the theory was that 90% of people are right-handed, bowl right-handed, probably, and so the floor, the bowling alley hardwood, gets worn down on the right side where the right-handed people bowl, and the left side is more pristine because it's not worn down because only 10% of the people bowl left-handed. Therefore, it's an advantage for the southpaws. I remember reading an article.
Very interesting.
I don't know if that would still hold true. That was a long time. I was a kid, and that was what they were theorizing. I wonder if that is still
I went to a bowling alley in a really small town, and oh my gosh, you for the first time I could see what a bowling alley looks like after it's been warped really bad. This thing was just like you could see, like it sunk it in, and like the boards were worn, and you could see how if I would have thought about that, I could have told you just by looking at that one. Oh, yeah, the right side is definitely more worn than the left side of it because those boards were just like the ball would just go. Poof. I think the boards would maybe even move a little bit when he went to bowl.
If I was the owner of or the maintenance of a bowling alley, every time somebody would throw the ball and it would, you're supposed to throw the ball and lay it on the lane.
Yeah.
But
it's not supposed to go out of the sky. Boom.
Yeah. I'm sure the guy in charge of maintaining the lane is like,
that would be
divot in there. I got to clean up now.
Yeah.
But I do like the fact you don't have to worry about scoring. It's all automatic.
Well, there too, they just put your name right in the machine too. They asked what our name was, and we have to touch anything.
Yeah, I like it.
Didn't have to touch a thing.
Back in the day, you had to keep score. You had to know.
You had to know how to do score. Wow, which is really a hard score to keep track of. I never thought about going there and keeping track of score back then.
Really, you've never had to do the bowling score ever?
No.
Oh my gosh! So automatic electronic has been around ever since you started bowling.
I was a little baby.
You are such a little baby.
I was you cute little baby.
Or I'm, showing my years. You've never had to keep score. That's interesting. So interesting. Okay. All right, interesting.
Huh.
Yeah, we used to have pencils and score. Write it down.
Did you have to use a card through the courtesy of your 2 feet?
A what?
Through the courtesy of your 2 feet.
I don't know what you're talking
That
about.
in the Flintstones, that's the line he says, through the courtesy of Fred's 2 feet, because he's using his feet. He's in the car and he's making it go.
That's in the song. That's literally in the song.
It's in the song, yeah, because there's somebody that redid that song, and I don't understand that part right there is what they mentioned. I was like, no, through the courtesy of Fred's 2 feet. It's talking about Fred's the one pushing the car, and everybody else is
pedaling it.
Not even pedaling it.
No
they just walk. They just walk. What who came up with that concept? Cars existed back then, but they just had to use their feet as the engine. Man, the kind of gas mileage you get. I mean, you don't even have you have a quarter of what? Well, you have a tenth of a horsepower, but you're no gas cost. You're just really hungry after a few mile trip.
They say that they model the Flintstones after the Honeymooners.
Oh,
you remember the?
Well, yeah, I definitely see the dad. Like, oh wow, interesting.
Yeah, one of these days. Heck, you even know that's from the 50s.
Nowadays, you go to jail just for saying one of these days. Cuffs. Oh.
I was reading about, I don't know how I got on the thread. I used to be a big fan of like Woebegone and on the public radio, Garrison Keilor. And what was the name of his show? Lake Woebegone was his home. You don't know, no reference.
Garrison no, I don't think so. I don't know that name.
He would talk about. It was a variety show on public radio.
Okay. Like Flip Wilson, like something like Flip Wilson, like which was more of a skit show.
Oh, there were some skits. And Garrison Keilor, what was the name of his show? I mean, Lake Woebegone was the location, the fictitious name, and he very talented and kind of bluegrass adjacent. He would have a lot of artists on there, and they would be, Americana, bluegrass type music. Very talented musicians, and it was all live in front of a live audience. And Garrison Keilor from Minnesota. I mean, I was from South Dakota, so it was next door. And my sister actually, when he was in the final, he was going to shut it down because he's 82 now. And this will circle back to what we were talking about. And he would have all. I mean, if you got on the Garrison on his show, I cannot remember what it was called. What was his show called? But it was in Lake Woebegone. He would tell these fictitious stories. He was such a great storyteller, and he was also very talented as a musician, as a singer. He had some phenomenal artists come up on there. But again, the style of music was in the bluegrass or Americana style. I mean, no hard rockers or anything like that, or jazz. But he, I don't know, for some reason, he's been off the air now. Oh, so my sister, she was a big fan as well, and she got tickets, and we saw one of his last shows, 2010-ish, I think. It was in the theater in Minneapolis, and because he was going to retire, and he did retire. But after he retired, I don't know why this came across my radar, and I'm maybe because I was thinking about him, just wondered whatever happened to Garrison Keilor, and he had a lawsuit in 1970, when he was 75, and he's 82 now, so that was 7 years ago. So that would have been 2017. And I think he went off the air about 2015, roughly. And he was sued by one of his writers on the show for touching him inappropriately. And he said he was completely blindsided by it. And he said he was 75 years old when it happened. He said that she was in distress, and he went to hug her, and she was wearing, I guess, on the back of her blouse was open or something, and his hand crept up the back on her back. And he said he didn't think he was just touching her back, but it was her bare back because the blouse was open. And he didn't know there was a problem. There was nothing said at that time until he heard from her lawyer. And he said, we were friends until this happened. And Minnesota Public Radio took his program off the air for a period of time as a repercussion. And he said, I'm completely dumbfounded by all this. He said, but I'm 75 years old. I don't want to argue about it. And whatever you do, go ahead and do it. And I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. But I love Garrison Keilor. And I don't know. Maybe he is a closet pedophile. I don't know. But I mean, I want to defend him. And I think that Keanu Reeves has the right idea.
Maybe when you were telling that story, it made me think of Keanu Reeves.
Don't touch.
He does the hover
touch.
hands. He
will
does
not touch.
Hover hands.
Hovering hands. He will not touch women. It's precarious in this. Pendulum has swung. The pendulum had to swing. It had to swing. But I sometimes wonder if we're going to get canceled for this. But it swung too far.
Nobody knows who we are.
Nobody cares. So we're getting canceled before we even nobody knows who we are. I mean, I'm not diminishing. The Harvey Weinstein guy and all the casting couches and all that stuff. That was horrible. Horrible.
Oh yeah.
But it's so easy now to get traction by accusation, and you can ruin careers. Who knows what really happens between two people? In Garrison Keilor's case, I wasn't there, so I don't know what happened. But nothing was said at the time. He said. Anyway, I don't know why I'm bringing that up. What were we talking about? We were talking about something.
Oh yeah, let's back to the commercial. Do you like Cheerios? I like Cheerios. I put a nice portion of milk on my Cheerios, and I eat them, and I enjoy them. Cheerios. We are not sponsored by Cheerios, but we are open to it. Thank you. All right, that's our commercial for today. All right, back to number 3.
Not sponsored by Cheerios, but we are open to it.
All right. Addendum number 3. Topic number 3 says. Absolutely, it doesn't say anything. Please stop trying to think of something to say.
I'm sorry.
Breathe, Tim. Tim, breathe.
I'm
sorry. I'm sorry, everyone. Tim has to. When it's a laugh, when it comes to him, he just has to stop what he's doing. He's got to flush out the laughter, and we will continue. So take a little smoke break. If you don't smoke, take a little coffee break. If you don't do either of those things, just wait patiently. Thank you. We are sponsored also by Monster. Monster, it puts the monster in you with no calories. Thank you, Monster, for not supporting this. You could support us. I can't even say that word. Terrine. It's in that. I can't even say it. Yeah. No, Tyrion. Seth. Tyrion. I like that name.
Taurine, right?
From
Tyrion.
Now on, it's
Tyrion.
Tim and Tyrion. It's the Tim and Tyrion podcast.
I will tell you why I know what that is. I had a company, a snack food company. It was called Dakota Valley Products, and we invented caffeinated sunflower seeds, in-shell sunflower seeds, because a lot of people eat sunflower seeds when they're driving, and to stay awake.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people consume caffeine to stay awake. And if you're consuming liquid caffeine, you got to take a break, or you got to have. A lot of truckers have a way to relieve their bladder while they're driving. Kind of a complicated thing.
Were you able to patent that? Is that something?
Anyway, we tried to patent the caffeinated sunflower seeds. We spent a lot of money. I spent a lot of money because it was my money. It was my company. Spent tens of thousands of dollars trying to patent it. That's a sore subject. The patent examiner decided that it wasn't going to allow us to have it. And they said that salt was the same thing as caffeine, and salt has already been added to sunflower seeds. So therefore, it wasn't a new invention. I kid you not.
Wait, salt isn't caffeine, is it?
That's you're wrong.
Exactly.
You are wrong. According to the U.S. patent examiner, you are wrong.
Man, you could have made a lot of money in licensing if you would have got that. Possibly.
Well, we ran out of money. I'd already spent so much money and we could have kept fighting it, but I'd spent so much money on it. So you got to call it quits at some point. I mean, it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. Neither could my attorney believe it. The patent attorney. I mean, I got the paperwork. I still have the files. They said that salt has been added to sunflower seeds, and salt is an additive and a stimulant. Salt is a stimulant, and there's no difference between that and adding caffeine. So therefore, it's not a novel new invention.
So is there salt in caffeine? What was his rhyme or reason? Caffeine is.
I don't know. It makes
which
no
I don't
sense.
even really know what
sense.
caffeine like.
It
What
makes
is
no
it?
sense.
Is it something connected? Is it something that's part of something? Is it part of salt?
No. Salt and caffeine have nothing to do with each other. Anyway, so
That's
we had taurine also. We had caffeine and taurine in because that's in energy drinks. And
is that fairly safe?
Yeah, it's safe.
Okay.
I mean,
Monster. Thank you.
Caffeine is probably the most dangerous thing in what you're drinking there. I mean, it's a stimulant, so stimulates your nervous system. I mean, I drink coffee all the time. So, I mean, I don't know, I'm still alive, I guess. So anyway,
coffee, it makes you poop.
So that's how I know what taurine is, because we made that. We invented energized sunflower seeds, some seeds. I sometimes still wear the hat, some of the gear. I still have the hat with the logo on it. I was wearing it yesterday. When the video we recorded, oops. So Seth's going to be gone. I don't think we can hide the fact. Seth's going to be gone, so we're going to record some backup podcasts.
Snitch.
Because we want to keep, delivering new podcasts to you every
surprise podcast. But we're still going to try to do some live, but it will be sporadic. Because
we don't know how good the internet service will be. So,
but anyways, that's interesting.
Back in the day, some seeds, my product, we started this product and we thought we were going to be shipping it by the truckloads. The first month, we thought this is going to take off. No, I lost so much money. That was a failed venture. I lost a ton of money, and I kept trying new things. Our first step was we had Tony Gwynn, the Hall of Famer. You probably don't know who Tony Gwynn is. Do you know who Tony Gwynn is?
I remember you. Yeah, I'm hearing about it from you.
From
you, yeah.
So Tony Gwynn was a baseball hitter for the San Diego Padres, and we signed him. He was actually we had his picture on the bag, which was a mistake. In retrospect, I wouldn't do that, because how many baseball teams are there? And the only people that are going to want to buy that are San Diego Padre fans. That was my mistake. And he wasn't that well known, even though he was, he was an all-star for like 11, 12 years. And at the time, he had the highest full season batting average since Ted Williams. He'd gotten really close. 400. Ted Williams was the last person to bat 400. I don't know if you know your baseball trivia.
I do not.
Ted Williams, 400 batting average. Hasn't been done since Ted Williams, which was in the 40s, early 40s. Might have been while World War II was going on. Might have been the first year or two of World War II. And he hit 402, I think it was. Nobody's broken 400 for an entire season since. Tony Gwynn came awfully close. I think he was 390 something for a full season. And he had a lot of stats that were very, very impressive. I think he had the highest average batting average of anyone in the National League, and so on. So he was a big deal. First ballot Hall of Famer. Didn't move the needle for us. Nobody cared. We even had commercials with his name in it. Hey, I'm Tony Gwynn, and I'm talking about
Tony who?
I've got the commercial. My buddy sent it to me. He said, hey, I found this commercial, the guy that I work with. And he said, here's this commercial we did. And I hadn't listened to it because this was in 2007. And he had helped me. He was an advertising marketing guy. And he sent the commercial. And I'm like, oh, my gosh. It was for Walmart. And we must have had some seeds in Walmart. I don't remember that we got them into Walmart, but I guess we did, because the commercial was, hey, I'm Tony Gwynn, and we have some seeds in Walmart.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Maybe he had it just in some.
I think we just had it in a few Walmarts. We didn't have it national. We had it local. Walmarts, you can, at least then, they had local ability the store manager had the ability to put local products in the Walmart. I don't know if they still allow that.
That's smart. That's smart because you think, I mean, there's a lot of things that people would just want to get locally that from somebody that they know.
So I think using that program, we were in
connect with the city better
in South Dakota, and I remember going to the radio station and buying ads, and so that must have been the ad we were running. I guess a little foggy. I'm trying to block that out of my mind because it was such a huge failure. You know, the patent, we didn't get the patent. And the product didn't sell. And,
well, it's interesting you said 2007 too. That 2007, that was a tough year too. Anyways,
yeah, the economy. 2008, then the economy. Maybe that.
No, 2000. No,
that was 2008. The economy crashed.
17, Grandpa passed away.
Oh,
not 2007. What am I thinking?
You're off by a decade.
I tried to kill off Grandpa 10 years early. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So. I mean, it was an experience. I mean, it was interesting. Getting your product, and then we swung a deal where we had them in every Flying J. I don't know, Flying J truck stop. Pilot and Flying J. I went
to one. J's? I went to one and took a picture with by the Flying J. Yeah, they're still around.
I know there was a merger. Wasn't there a merger? Now Love's is a big one. Did Love's buy Flying J? There's Love's, Flying J, and Pilot.
And Casey's is getting huge.
Truck stop? Casey's
not a truck stop, but truck stop.
About truck stops.
Oh yeah, Love's is one. Yeah.
Love's is a big one. Pilot used to be a big one, and Flying J. So we were in every single Flying J. We had our some seeds in every Flying J. And I went on a motorcycle ride with my buddy, and we're going on the interstate in I-80 down in Nebraska, and in every Flying J. we would stop. He probably got tired of me wanting to stop because, and I wanted to go in and see my product.
Of course.
Store. And Seth, most Flying J's, I couldn't find it.
Huh.
It was there, but it was really hard to find. Like behind the door or something. So that ain't going to sell. And I remember we had it in the truck stop up in North Dakota. And I remember going in there and said, "Where's your caffeinated sunflower seeds?" "No, we don't have caffeinated sunflower seeds." And they were like right across the aisle from the checkout person. A new product like that, no, it's not going to sell. You got to, if I was to do that again, the person
saying you don't have it.
You don't have it. You need to get the people motivated that are working there to sell the product. I mean, I would approach it so much differently. And we tried to have programs but the average person who's working the checkout at a convenience store or a truck stop,
don't care.
That's a low wage job. They don't care. They don't care if they move things, if they move the product or not.
Mm-hmm.
Now with social media, I mean, you could use influencers and you could, build a demand that way.
You could put it on podcast. Monster Energy, not sponsored. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. So that was an interesting period in my life.
Yeah. 2007. What was I doing in 2007? Many moons ago. 2000s flew by. It's so weird to think like, I'm here. We talked about, I'm collecting like the turtles from the 90s. It's weird to think that in the 90s, the early 1990,
17 years ago. Oh my gosh. 17 years ago.
Right. And then 1990, that's 34 years ago. The good old 90s. 1990. I've been collecting all these action figures and
right.
And they're 30 years old. They're 34 years old now, a lot of them. Or the ones that are made in 1988, that's 36 years old. So it's pretty cool to be able to get some of these action figures that are still in the box and stuff. I'm a nerd. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, now owned by Nickelodeon. Not sponsored. I like turtles. Turtles.
When I want to buy stuff, I look at guitars. I almost bought a 1981 Les Paul, and I sent it to my buddy, and I knew that there would be no pushback. And he even said in the message, he says, "You know what my answer is going to be? Buy it.
Buy it.
I haven't bought it yet.
Buy that Les Paul. Not sponsored."
Gibson is in Nashville.
Gibson
Les Paul.
We love Gibson.
Gibson is the company that makes Les Paul.
Here in Nashville, they make Gibsons. You can get them at your local guitar store. Not sponsored.
Not sponsored is going to be a
This should be on a t-shirt. Not sponsored. Just think when we do have a sponsor, I'm going to have a heart attack. We're sponsored.
Seth, you are so funny, man.
I try.
You
I try.
Maybe crack me up.
Comedy. Good times.
All right. Well, what else is going on?
Man, I'm looking forward to the cruise. Trying to stay on top of my properties that I got left in the good old Ohio, and keep.
You know the song by the Pretenders, Ohio. Anyway, you keep going. I'm interrupting your flow.
Why would you interrupt my flow? It was, but yeah, not too much, just kicking. We had talked about bowling yesterday, movies. I have a movie pass now where I can see 3 movies a week, and I have not felt like seeing much of anything, especially now. I did just watch Horizon the other night. That was amazing. That it only made 11,000 in theaters, which is crazy.
Okay, so the Pretenders. I went back to Ohio, but my city was
Horizon.
Gone. There was no train station. There was no downtown. South Howard had disappeared. All my favorite places. My city had been pulled down, reduced to parking spaces. Way to go, Ohio.
So anyways, this movie I watched was Horizon, an American saga.
That's what come to my mind when you said Ohio. So it's very catchy. You need to listen to it.
Ohio, a state in the United States of America. Go vacation there. It's a great place. They have the roller coaster capital of the world.
The what capital of the world?
Roller coaster capital of the world.
Oh.
Not sponsored. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Horizon.
Horizon. I saw it late last night because I'm a night owl. Kevin Costner put a big chunk of his own money into it, and
that's the one that he risked his entire nest egg in a way.
Yeah, and so it's already on Max, which is HBO now, and I watched it. It's like 3 hours long, and they're doing 4 parts, and I really enjoyed it. It skipped around a little bit, and like you had to be really paying attention to follow it because there's like kind of different stories going on. But I was really enjoying it. In fact, Kevin Costner didn't show up in the movie until like practically halfway through the movie because there was different stories going on. And then it kind of at the end of it, it kind of gave you like a little bit of a teaser for the next one coming up. But the next one was supposed to be in theaters, but they pulled it off. Basically trying to, because a lot of people didn't go to the theaters to see it. They're trying to give people a chance to go watch it on Max, get more eyes on it before they release the second one. And I thought it like got horrible reviews already, and the reviews aren't horrible. They're still like around 70%. And I mean, and I could see why. I mean, you got to follow it, but it's good action. I just love, man, I love old school, like the feel for that. I love Western stuff, Indians, cowboys, Indians, and then some history mixed in there, basically kind of like the going West theme. And, they think they find a safe spot and they get attacked by the Indians or whatever. They're on this side of the river. They see 3 crosses on the other side of the river and like, oh, we shouldn't be over there. So their instinct was just on the other side of the river. They'll be okay. No. Yeah. And which is kind of crazy. They get attacked here and they're within miles, I think 10, 15 miles of like of a army base. And they would be safe there, but they camp out right in the middle of the territory of the Indians, and the Indians do not want them there. But I'm not really saying too much to be a spoiler. But there's some good.
Don't spoil.
Spoil.
Don't
Horizon.
be a spoiler.
But it's check it out. It's on Max if you have
I'm the last person to be saying that.
Don't be a spoiler. Tim breaks into hives if he doesn't get it spoiled before the end. It was something we talked about before. Tim couldn't even watch a race unless he already knew who the end was. I gotta look it up. Tim, it's right now. It's live, or it's not even live. We're watching it right now. Literally, wait 20 seconds and you'll know who won it. But yeah, I love me a good Western movie.
Defect,
I kind of,
I guess. Yeah.
I'll be searching for another Western movie just because I'm in the mood for one. But one of the best shows ever was what he was doing with Paramount Plus.
What was that one? Yeah, he was in and he left that to try to do this.
Yellowstone.
Yeah, Yellowstone. I've never watched Yellowstone, but I've heard
so good,
incredible.
So it's like a modern day, like a modern twist on Western in a way, like territory between Indians and landowners and then also like businesses trying to move in and make build houses and all that, wanting to use the land for their own profit. And man, there's murder and intrigue and backstabbing, and it's so good. It's really, 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 and super well written by a guy that he just kind of came from nowhere. Like they've done now, they got the main Yellowstone, and then there's 2 spinoffs. Both are also amazing and have really good characters in them. But he left Yellowstone and he's the main character. Costner is. And so they're gonna have to finish up the season without him, and then I'm hoping that they do some of these other shows. But it's man, like it's like on that like Game of Thrones kind of level. That's how good it is. Like just the writing is amazing, and
so it's not Netflix.
No, it's Paramount Plus.
Okay. That's why I haven't seen it, because I don't have that.
Oh, you can play it right off. Last time I checked, YouTube TV. You can play it right off of YouTube TV.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were all on there. That's how I started watching it.
My former roommate before you. Well, 2 roommates before you.
Former. Yeah,
former.
He did the upgrade. Oh, I live here.
Yeah,
I signed the lease.
He was a great guy. He had every single streaming platform you could get. Every channel you could have. I think he said he spent $250 a month. Paramount, Hulu. I mean, you name it. How many are there? Apple Plus, Discover.
Oh, so many.
There's so many. He had every one of them, and he was telling me about this show, or the Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard about it from others as well. He said, you got to watch Yellowstone, but I didn't have it on my streaming. And for 2 reasons. One, the money, but more importantly, I want to limit my time in front of a TV. I want to spend that time working on my music, just driver. So,
yeah, it's crazy how many different. I'll usually, like, if there's a show I like on the, so I always have the Netflix, which I have a bundle. I have Netflix, Disney Plus, and ESPN Plus, which I really like, because especially like about every weekend almost, so you can watch a UFC fight and it will just be on ESPN Plus a lot of times, or just ESPN. But so that's nice to have, and then that's like about $15 with tax, maybe 16, and then I have Hulu Plus, which has tons of all the shows. We watched the movie Casino. We watched Casino on there, and that one, I think we were worried about there being a commercial throughout it, but they just had one commercial at the beginning, and then we watched the whole movie. And then no, Netflix is separate. My brother has Netflix, and I use his, and then I let him borrow my.
Don't make that public.
So
Netflix will come after you.
Which I can't even use his Netflix, so I'm been using your Netflix. I can't use, because now they kick you out. If you're not in the house, in the house so that it will like check it and it will kick you out, and they can send you like a temporary password or whatever. But
well, I mean, I think Netflix and Spotify streaming are similar in that they are, one of them is music and one of them music and podcasts. Spotify is music and podcasts, and Netflix is movies and shows. And they're both, well, I don't know how Netflix is doing financially, but
Netflix is still doing amazing. Their stock's just going up and up, and
Spotify Spotify doesn't report earnings. I mean, they've lost money. I mean, they still have quarters where they lose money. I mean, they're not doing super great, and they're not minting money like, say, Amazon or I don't know
Apple.
Netflix, but is Netflix minting money, or are they
basically? I mean, their biggest thing is just not to spend too much on programming, where they have enough.
Well, Netflix is doing the long haul, I think, because they want to own everything. In fact, they don't pay points for anything. They don't pay points for songwriter. They don't pay points for script. Most productions, you license the script and you pay points after the fact. That's the way it's always been done. Netflix says, no, we'll give you a lump sum and then we own it outright. And they've been doing that for years.
Yeah, see, I feel like to do the point thing, they really need to have commercials almost to be able to, because then the commercials would show like every time you click on the stuff, whereas you're just paying a flat rate, whereas if there's a commercial,
like on public TV, or whatever, when it goes on TV. And I don't know how they pay for it when it goes on streaming where there is no commercial like Netflix. I don't know how. I mean, like sometimes movies or programs will be on Netflix, and what the financial arrangement is, I'm not sure how that works. But yeah, if it's on, like if you write a song, and
I think they just license it for like a year or two a lot of times. Yeah.
So if you write a song, then and you usually retain the ownership of that song, then every time it gets played, you get paid a certain amount. And but that money comes from commercials, or it generally also comes from Netflix, unless they, like streaming, unless they buy it outright. But most songwriters don't sell their songs; they license them, except at towards the end of their life, when they sell their catalog.
Or there's been
big artists have been selling their catalog. Like Bob Dylan sold his catalog, I think, for $500 million, and a bunch of other artists have sold their catalog. So that means
Justin Bieber sold his.
Yeah, he did too, and he's quite young.
Yeah,
I mean, to be selling his catalog. So interesting.
Yeah,
did Justin Timberlake sell his as well?
Not that I know of. But yeah, it is becoming more of a common. They're just offering ridiculous money. But you got to look at the numbers though too. Like is it worth, like, how much money are you getting? Like is this? I would look at 10 years. I would look. Is it just going to take 10 years for me to get this money after? Because but then again, I could set this money and it could build interest also. So there's some pros and cons to it.
Well, they based on the cash flow from the current cash flows, they're way overpaying. You can do a present value of current cash flows, present value calculation. It's a simple calculation you learn, in finance very early on, and net present value. And you do net present value of all of that cash flow, and that should be the value of the asset. And what they're paying is many multiples times what it is worth current. So they're betting on some appreciation and increased cash flow at some point. And it's a lot of venture capital money, which is crazy money. They just spend it without any regard to what the returns are going to be. And that's why all these people are selling, because they're selling it high. The easiest way to make money in investment is buy low, sell high, and you sell when it's high. And that's what all these people are doing. It's worth way more than we'd ever thought it'd be. So I'm selling out now. And I can always write more.
And probably the artist is thinking like, I can write more of this.
Yeah.
I'm talented. It's me. The
so
artist.
Many artists, young artists like Justin Bieber and Imagine Dragons. I mean, they're the head guy for Imagine Dragons is like 40. Of course, he's had a lot of health issues now, but conceivably they've got more years to go, but you sell it when it's at the peak. And so
Conceivably, not to be confused with inconceivable. Name that movie reference. Go.
Princess Bride.
In that. Oh. Spoiler alert. Yeah,
I'm the
Bride.
spoiler.
Tim's like, that's
Spoiler-
me.
spoiler
I'm
Tim.
the spoiler.
How we doing on time, buddy?
It's about that time. But guys, thanks for listening to another podcast. This has been a blast as always. Good time. We'll see you.
I gotta finish this one first.
We'll see you next time. And guys, don't forget to drink your Monster. It's got zero sugar, lots of energy. It's not sponsored, but that's okay. Maybe next time. We love you guys. Thanks for watching.
Keep talking, Seth. I got to do all the individual stuff.
Also, Cheerios. Don't forget I said Cheerios.
Keep talking.
I guess I got to keep talking because that's what Tim said, and Tim's the boss. Tim